not quite camber yet. Let's talk about a honing guide and what that is and why you haven't used it yet. There's a lot of different honing guides, and all a honing guide is a mechanism that clamps a piece of steel to set at a desired angle. So I can take a chisel. Thank you. This actually might not close up. I'll use the plane blade here and open this up. And you can set a piece of steel in there, and there's a measured projection from the back side of the honing guide to the tip of the bevel that's going to give me a measured degree every time. And so then I can set this on a water stone with this roller here and bring that down and start honing my bevel, right? Really consistently, as opposed to what you've been doing previously is grinding at about 25 or 30 degrees, right? And then doing a hollow chisel grind where you have that polished edge at the front and the back of your bevel. Well, the fundamental difference here is that what I do is I grind at about 25 degrees, and then I set it in a honing guide at about 30 degrees. So what I'm doing is I'm lifting the whole plane up a little bit so it's only making contact with the very edge of my bevel and the water stone. And so my polished edges look different than yours, and it's only at the tip, right? As opposed to what you guys have been doing where they kiss each other eventually and you need to regrind. So that is called a secondary bevel. And nope. Okay. And it's up to you what you want those degrees to be. So I like grinding at 25 and setting my secondary bevel at 30. I used to set it at 35, but I felt like it was too, I had to kind of, with my chisels, I had to kind of bang too hard. So the higher your secondary bevel, the more steel there is, right? So which means there's more force against whatever you're hitting. So your edge lasts longer, but it's harder to bring it through your material. So I found 30 to be a nice balance. It stays hard enough, long enough, and stays sharp long enough where I liked it. The benefit also to a honing guide is that you don't need a grinder, right? So a honing guide isn't not always the cheapest thing, but what you can do is you can set it in your honing guide and project it for a 25-degree bevel, right? And go on some sandpaper, like on a piece of granite or float glass with some sticky sandpaper, and I can set something to about 25 degrees, run this back and forth, and that primary bevel will be totally striated and at 150 grit or something, whatever I use. Then I reset it to 30 degrees, a little higher, and I can then create my secondary bevel on the water stones. So you don't need a hollow grind. So if you don't like the grinder, if you feel like you'd rather spend your money on something quieter, you can totally do this just with a honing guide. So this is how some people sharpen solely. I still like the grinder, so I grind, and then I only do the secondary bevel with my honing guide. I go right to it, okay? There's a variety of different types of honing guides. This is one from like Amazon, and it's pretty cheap, and it acts kind of cheap. You're gonna get what you pay for. And then there is this one from Veritas, and it has this clamping jaw right here, and then there's a roller down there. And this can hold pretty much any of their tools. I mean, plane blade and chisel, it all kind of works. The downside, Mondo bought this, but why don't you like it?
It's like a known issue with Veritas that it'll skew your chisel. something where with the wheel, when you tighten down, when you clamp it and you're rolling, it'll grind more on one side than the other. And you just have to send it in and they'll send you another one, and maybe you get lucky, or you have to send it in again, and it's just what they do.
So it seems kind of flawed, right? Seems like a pain in the butt. It's like maybe just be good at finding a bevel and sharpen. Then the nice thing about the Veritas one is that you can change the roller mechanism. So this is like a dead flat roller here, and you can put on this one here that has a cigar shape to it. See the difference there? And this allows you to add camber really consistently because you can roll it on that slight radius there. So there's this nice give on the roller.
This one's not bad. The Schools one works okay. So.
Then there's Blue Spruce makes one, and this goes in like, I always forget. This needs to go, the hell. This one?
And then they just get more and more complicated.
I just did it yesterday. What? No. No.
Flip the chisel. Yeah.
Okay, yep, okay, good. Obviously I use this one all the time. And they kind of lock into this, like, there's these, like, dovetail lock going on in here. Come on, you biatch.
They don't like when you use the chisel.
Yeah. And there is, it comes with this guide that you can set your bevel degree. So there's 20, 25, 30, 35. And so I can lock this down and I say, okay, I want a 35 degree.
I think it's sold separate, right?
I think it comes together.
I think it comes with it.
Does it?
Yeah.
Because
And
you can't use it without it.
you set this in back here where the blade's sticking up, and then the bevel's hitting this little notch here, and then you can loosen until the wheels are making contact with back here, right? So you pinch it back there, and then there's this projection from here to there. Now you're at 35. So that's, no matter what the width of the blade is, it's not going to change the length, the distance between that. So again, kind of finicky, like you just saw. And I didn't really use honing guides until I tried the Lee Nielsen honing guide. And it's really simple to use. And it's really well made. It has really nice big clamping jaws here. See that dovetail shape right there. It's about $1.50, so here's what it is.
It's a lot cheaper than the Blue Spruce, like $2.50.
Really?
Whoa.
Now, when you buy Lee Nielsen's, they only give you this, and you can buy different jaws. Actually, I think I brought it this time. Thank you. You can buy different clamping jaws. So if I take this off, these are all machined. I can add a set of long jaws that lock in with those flatheads. And so they sell like 4 or 5 different kinds of jaws depending on the chisel you need to sharpen. The one I just took off, the standard, is going to do all your bench planes, all your plane blades, like almost everything. What it won't do are your spoke shave plane blades. And I use my spoke shave a lot. So I had to buy the longer jaws to be able to sharpen. And I need that, I really want that consistently sharp. I mean, I use it for everything. So it justified another $50. You know, they also sell them for their skew chisels. I don't own any skew chisels, so I didn't need the skew chisel holder. So you'll see that, like, you don't need all of the holders, but I do recommend, if you get this, to get the ones for your spoke shaves as well. So that just goes on. But what's happening is, whatever size jaws you have on here, there's a PDF you can print out from their website, and you can make a jig that sets the projection from for your desired beveling. So they go from 15 to like 45. I only use 20, 25, 30, 35. And actually out of those, I really am only using 25 and 30 most of the time. So I'm barely ever using these outside ones. But there's a whole thing of, you know, sheet you can look at. You can copy the jig, but all it is a dimension from the edge of your board to the inside of this piece of wood. And they told me that 1 7/16 gives you a 30-degree beveling. So I just mimicked that. And so when I am setting this in the honing guide, I'll bring a chisel in, make sure it's actually locked in there. And I want a 30-degree secondary bevel. So I have this flat edge here, and I push that just against that piece of wood. Everything's nice and locked in. And there we go. I'm projected now for a 30-degree bevel.
So do you need a different one of those for the longer jaws?
No, same thing. Same thing. Yep, it works. So that jig works for.
It accounts for the smoke.
It still is coming off of this edge here,
Oh,
no
it's
matter
not
what.
referencing.
No, it's referencing the body of the not the jaws that's on there, but the
Your
body.
jaw actually protrudes it further out.
Yeah, it's
So
just so we can hold a little
see
blade
it.
out there. And process is the same here, but it's really quick and really consistent. That I need to bring that burr to the back side of my chisel, and all I can do now. We've been finding the bevel and pulling, Well, now I can set that in, and I'm at 30. I'm only touching the very tip, and I can get some nice consistent pressure on the back side, and I can come both orientations because I'm not digging into my water stone anymore. So I've already done. Thank you. And I got the. Let me go.
Sure.
Whose is this? What's yours?
Nick's.
Nick's?
Yeah.
Whose is it? Okay, so I feel a burr on the back, and I can move on.
Okay.
Quick.
So not making contact with the back doesn't affect the chisel at all? Like,
Say it again.
because you're only touching the front for the secondary bevel, so not touching the back won't affect your chiseling at all? Like,
No. Remember, the only thing, the way we've been grinding or polishing is just because it's the only way to consistently find a bevel, right? Because if I told you to like find the bevel and then lift up a hair, well, what does a hair mean, right? That means something different for everyone in this room. So we had to be able to have something where we could all kind of mimic that with each other. Well, now I know where the bevel is, and I'm setting it a little higher, and it just locks in right there. Same thing here. Still trying to use the whole stone. But I hope you see already at this point that if we had started with this, it's just not to your benefit, right? You got to know what it's like to sharpen something. This is too easy. There's going to be times where you're going to buy a new chisel and you're like, I don't think this is going to work. And okay, so that fishtail chisel that you'll use for half-blind dovetails, that doesn't go in the grinder, and that doesn't go in a honing gun. You got to be able to just find it and sharpen it. Your router plane, that little guy, that can't go in a honing guide, right? You just got to find that bevel and pull it and sharpen it. So, but how often I use those versus my bench chisels, it's nice to have this. So that's 4. every time you were like finding it and pulling it, I mean, I'm doing that back and forth now so much faster. And then there will be a point of diminishing returns. And you know, the new Lee Nielsen's are already at 30 degrees for the primary bevel. That's what they're ground at. So I've actually been polishing the back the whole time too, but that wasn't the goal. That's just where it was set. If I set it to 35, you would have seen just that tip. Now I still have that burr on the back, but I got a mirror polish. Looks good. And you have right here, it's kind of awkward, but you can leave it in the honing guide if you want, and just, you know, take that burr off. Okay. And if you needed to, you know, why would I leave it in the honing guide? Well, maybe I need to go back for some reason and just get it a couple more times, and then I can take it off. Go. Some wood. So we can even see that right across. I mean, it's just super shiny, super consistent. It's really nice. So, here you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now adding camber to a plain blade where I'll set it in. And this is my number 4 plain blade. So I want to add a really subtle camber. You can add camber at the grinding wheel, right? You could take a Sharpie and draw like a very subtle radius and then nick the corners off, but you can quickly take too much off, and that's, for your smoothing planes, I think it's best to do it at the waterstones. And if you don't know where you're at with the angle, but you want to make sure you're just hitting the tip, you can always take, you know, something flat and hold it up here on the wheel, and I'll see where I'm actually making contact. Right now I'm hitting the back of my bevel. So I need to bring the blade in a little bit, and I can then, you know, kind of see there's a gap right there. So you can always just figure it out by saying, okay, I just want to make sure I hit my tip and move on. Okay. This. Go. 30. And camber. Let's see, I think I have a little bit of a camber. I'll always use just a piece of wood. I don't think so. Oh, really little. Really little. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I need to, yes, bring the burr all the way to the back, but I want to take off a little more on my corners. So first I'll just get a couple strokes in. Make sure everything looks good. Yep, it's fine. And now when I'm with my honing guide, I'm going to put pressure only on the left side. And I'm going to count my strokes. So I'm putting intentional pressure down here on my left. And you can see where like the steel's coming off. It's only on that side. Then I'm going to go to the far right side, do the same thing. Over here again. And then just a little bit in the middle. And then there's like that right between the far left and the middle, right? That sort of right in the middle, that bridge. Do a little bit there. And let's see. subtle. Notice I'm using a piece of wood, not a piece of steel on my bevel. See if you can do that. And it looks like, it's hard to really pass this around and tell, but I have more, you can see it in the secondary bevel. I'll show you this. I have more camber on my left, when I'm looking at this plane blade, more camber on my left than my right. And if you look at the secondary bevel, you can see it dipping on the left more than on the right. See how it dips more? There's like an arc to it, and this kind of comes straight across on that secondary. So it's telling me where I'm putting more pressure. Okay. No? Yes. Okay, so I need to go more on my left side. So I'm getting a hair of a rock, and I can just see light traveling through, and that's all you need. So I'll just clean this up a little bit more in those bridges, that middle, and then you can also pull it back, and I can kind of put influence. I can rock it as I pull it back, rock it from left to right, right to left. Okay. And with my, when you polish, you're also going to do the same thing, right? You're still going to count it on the left and right, so I can influence, even if it's really subtle now, you might get just what you need when you step it up. Side. We're just polishing now. So, ooh yeah, that's looking good. Sometimes that's all you need. You can kind of see how that secondary bevel's moving, it's arcing. And then the best thing you can do once you're done with all this is test it out on a board, right? So get a nice flat board. Obviously, it should be sharp at this point, but you also want to make sure that it's not leaving those heavy scallops. That's the whole goal. So same thing here. But think about how long this would take you by hand, you know.
If it would even be right. Like this close to the green.
You can still see all that steel that's only coming off the left, my left. There's always kind of a dance to it.
Or someone starts talking to you and you lose count.
Did you bring your slaves way down here, Sam?
Well, yeah, because this is what I need to do with mine.
You have a different honing guide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got the Jonathan Katz Moses one, which will do, so it's kind of a combination of the Veritas and the Lee Nielsen, where it's, you know, it has the same kind of clamping mechanism as the Veritas, but it has a magnetic fence and a built-in angle adjustment. So it actually has a little rotating piece that slides around to the front. When you insert your blade in, you can insert it 25 or 30. That's built into it. Has a little 3D printed snap-on piece to do anything from 20 to 35. And then that bar just rotates back and actually acts as your thumb rest when you do it. And it has a little magnetic fence in there to make sure that your blade is nice and square also.
Yeah, so lots of
Yeah.
companies.
Tons of different
yeah.
Tons of different ones.
Katz Moses, he's like a YouTube guy, but he makes some decent stuff. Cool, so now I've established that. I want to make sure I didn't get rid of it or make it any worse. It looks pretty happy with it. It might be a little too subtle, but I'm just going to stop now and try it out. I can always come back to this step.
When
But
you
if
say too subtle, meaning not enough?
Not enough, yeah. And again, I can leave it in the honing guide and pull that burr off. It's a little awkward, but it's fine. Because maybe I need to go back to the other side real quick. And that is it. So if you don't have, you can still do this without a honing guide to make a camber. You don't need it. So again, you can do it at the grinder, or you can find that bevel and put only pressure on one side and pull back. Do the same thing, right? So you're just counting your strokes, and then on the right side, and then go to that bridge and count half of that, and then go to the middle and count less than that, right? You're taking off more material on the edges. But once you get to a 32nd, I do think sandpaper or the grinder is your better option, right? Just to get yourself to that desired shape. Cool. Any questions? All right. That's it for the day.